Hey, welcome into East Texas Now. I'm Kyle Owens, taking over the desk for a brief moment from Devin Shea. We have a very special guest here to talk to us today. We are talking to Brookeland native Dakota Ebare. He finished third in this Bassmaster Open tournament over the weekend. Dakota, how are we doing today? Oh, I'm doing good. Let me plug in my ears here so I can hear you. I just was able to read your lips. But Dakota, you had a good weekend here at the Saint Croix Bassmaster Open at Lake Martin in Alexander City, Alabama. Talk to me about the weekend and how the fishing was.
Yeah, man, it was just a great week. Honestly, the fishing was pretty good, catching a lot of fish. It was a fun tournament, it really was. And this tournament was the ninth tournament of our schedule there on the Bassmaster Open. So this was the tournament that decided the Elite Series qualification process, and it was a lot of stress involved in that deal. I mean, the anticipation all year long had built up to that tournament, but very fortunate that it went well and had a great event and ended up capping off the season on a good note.
Well, and you talked about it. Now you're in that Bassmaster Elite Series now. So what does that mean to you, and what does that mean for your schedule? How does the schedule change now?
Man, truthfully, it's a dream come true. Honestly, to be able to be on that Bassmaster Elite Series and have the opportunity to go to the Bassmaster Classic. It's something I've dreamed about since I was a kid, and I'm very thankful to be able to have that opportunity now to represent my sponsors and the companies that I work with. On that platform. So it's going to be an awesome opportunity for me and the people that I work with. So excited about that. But so next year we'll fish 9 Elite Series events. And then we'll still fish some local tournaments here around Sam Rayburn and on Toledo Bend. A couple of those we'll do some of that as well. But for the most part, we'll be focusing on those 9 Elite Series events. And we actually have one that'll be on the Sabine River in May, as well as one on Lake Fork too. So we have a couple Texas tournaments that I'm pretty excited about.
Absolutely. Now, and that's what I wanted to ask you about. Now, you were fishing in Alabama this weekend, but you were just mentioning some Sabine River and Lake Fork here in Texas. Lake Fork, one of the premier lakes in the state, in the country, really. So, what have you noticed the biggest difference of fishing in Texas lakes as opposed to fishing at these other places in other states?
Well, I can tell you, Texas, does a great job of managing their fisheries, and they're second to none. Honestly, I love fishing in the state of Texas. A good day of fishing at Lake Martin was 9 pounds, and I mean, there's a really good chance that will be a bunch of 9 pounders caught at Lake Fork. I mean, so that's the big difference, right? But I mean, it's all relevant. Even those tournaments that are super tight in weights with low numbers. Like it was at Lake Martin, it's still fun, right? It's all relevant. We're all on the same playing field. But I do enjoy going to these Texas lakes where you have an opportunity to catch big bass and have big weights. It's just a lot of fun, whenever you never know what the next hook set is going to be.
Absolutely, yeah. No, that's a great time there. So I want to ask you, maybe for some anglers that are coming up and maybe fishing in high school or maybe just fishing recreationally for fun, what's some advice maybe for fishing right now in this time period, kind of the October time and where it's cooling off a little bit? What are some tips and tricks that you can give kind of some younger anglers to help them out at the lake?
Yeah, I mean, the temperatures are finally starting to drop, and those fish are starting to feed up for their fall transition and heading into the winter months, which is a long ways away. It feels like right now here in East Texas, it's still pretty hot, but those fish are starting to feed up and prepare for that transition. And so the fishing can be good, but top waters can be really good this time of the year. I kind of start fishing shallow a bunch in this time of year, here in East Texas, and I know Sam Rayburn has a really good a lot of opportunities to do that with the shallow hay grass and the buckbrush, cypress trees. There's a lot of opportunities to target those fish up shallow, and it's a fun way to catch them.
All right, so you finished third in the final tournament of the year this past weekend. So what's next for you now? Are you just going to be fishing for fun, or what's the rest of the year look like for you?
This is a time of year where I kind of like to decompress, I would say, and I spend a lot of time in the deer stand. I mean, I really enjoy, I mean, all year long, I love being able to travel all over the country and meet a lot of new people and fish all these different venues and stuff. But in the fall, that's kind of my time to just kind of take a step back and reflect on the year. I spend a lot of time in the woods, deer hunting, like I said, and I'll also do quite a bit of fishing. Preparation for the first Elite Series event in February of 2025 starts now, today. I'm unloading my truck and my boat right now. I just got home here to my house at Rayburn, and I'm preparing for next year, and it starts now. So although I'll spend some time, in the woods, we're starting to get prepared for February already.
Man, I love that. You don't think of that. You don't think of fishing as a year-round thing where you got to keep preparing ahead of time. You hear it in all these other sports, and you don't think of fishing that way. But that's an excellent way to look at it. You're already look. The season just ended Saturday on you. Already looking ready for next year. But that's awesome, man. Dakota, congratulations on the great weekend that you had over there at the lake, and best of luck next year in the Elite Series. And I'm sure we'll talk to you then.
I really appreciate it, man. Yeah, there's no off season for us. These high school anglers, especially here in East Texas, they're phenomenal anglers, and they're working their way up through the ranks. And so during the off season, I've got to spend time on the water to continue getting better because they're getting better and they're coming up trying to take my spot. So there's no off season. You got to be getting better every day. So it's always fun, man. I appreciate you guys having me, and looking forward to next time.
Absolutely, Dakota. Thank you so much for joining us today on East Texas Now.
Yes, sir. Have a good one. See ya.
All right.